Hey everyone, I hope you're all doing well. I wanted to jump on here really quickly with just a little bit of an update as far as Astro goes, and because we're at a really key junction right now. Actually, as we speak, I'm filming this on the 30th of November. And yes, it is a full moon, but even beyond that stage of the moon cycle that we're peaking at right now, there is a lot more going on and it is intense, so on so many levels. So thank you guys for tuning in. Love and light to you here, and I see a few people in the room. Just want to make sure that we're not buffering and we're good before we just start kind of like talking here and going off on the rampage of the okay, but so let's just jump into it here. And okay, I'm seeing comments. Cool. So yeah, 27 people. Okay, good. So it seems like we're not buffering. So okay, yes, full moon, yes, in Gemini, but it's beyond that. The ruler of Gemini, Mercury, right now is actually as well in a really important cycle here. It's gonna be reaching 29 degrees tomorrow, and that's in the sign of Scorpio. So you can sort of see it as like also the energy of Pluto ascending up into that 29th degree, Mars as well ascending up into that 29th degree. Pluto and Mars are both now technically direct, but they are still in the post-shadow period or post-shadow retrograde. And you can kind of see it as like a batoning over of the energy of retro. It's a little different. It's not like full-blown retro energy, but it is still, still present in some way. So be it thematically, be it conceptually, whatever it is, so there is still that energy there. Speaking of these long-term cycles that we've been working with throughout 2020, really, if we look at it, it was like, 2020, we've had, more or less Pluto retro during the majority of this period, and Mars trailed in a little later, but anyhow, the number of other planets. But anyways, so getting back into it, you can again assume that these energies are all sort of ascending, not just Mercury, but the sign it's in, and so on and so forth. And even furthermore, what is kind of important about this cycle, as I see it as well, and it's just my perspective, is that Mercury is in Scorpio, and we just moved out of Mercury retrograde. So in Scorpio, so it was kind of dipping in between Libra and Scorpio, going back and forth a little bit. So there is possibly still energy that's cycling out from that retrograde cycle, even though it's technically direct. We're no longer in post-shadow as well of Mercury, but we are still possibly working with some kind of build-up or culmination of those concepts that we were working with. Does it kind of make sense? And how are you guys feeling right now? I know it is really a lot. We do have December rolling around as well here, just in a day or so. So, and yeah, so just kind of sometimes it's like helpful to know what's happening in this macro sort of on the macro scale, just to kind of see it from that perspective. Yeah, questioning a lot of things, go with the flow. Yeah, well, yeah, and it's very interesting because we're culminating with this Gemini energy, which is such a cerebral energy, right? It's very sort of interactive when we're thinking about like the mind in terms of how we can perceive certain things. So that energy at this point in time right now, around the full moon, might be feeling intense. You'll find that clarity associated with that energy archetype possibly in a few days. So if you're feeling like, oh my God, I'm like confused, I have so many questions. Also, I've been wanting to jump, the full moon in Gemini is today, and I wanted to jump on the Gemini December reading. I kid you not, for days now, almost a week, it's like I'm almost begging at this point. I'm like, I want to get it done. I want to just jump in and just do it, but timing just has to feel right. So I'm going to wait. Who knows? We'll see. And I am going through my personal transformations as well. We're all here together, right? So and I'm clearing a lot out still. That was a major theme for me in the past few weeks, and it still is. Really, really getting down to and that's where we can say, hey, this very strong culmination of Pluto Mars energy of Scorpio, Mercury in Scorpio is sort of at play, and whether or not Mercury is still retrograde, right, yet again. But so yeah, if you are feeling a very strong sort of almost like it's like when we say a passionate energy, like, oh my God, I just want to do that. Like, I feel like I just want to finally just like go for that. And the one thing that's been on the back burner, okay, that you've been kind of like putting off, may very well be something that you end up feeling like, hey, I want to at least even just define it. Like, I don't want that to just kind of lurk for a number of me or in my aura. So, take it as you will, whatever it is that you feel you're working with around this time. But, it always depends on how Oh, Superfly, that's so cool. Aw. So, yeah, and there's a lot of energy still coming up from the past. We still have a number of planets in retro, and if they're not in retro, save Mercury and Venus, they will be in post-shadow retrograde. So, you know, there is still, like, we're cycling out. If you're like, oh my god, but, like, everything is technically direct, but it's still in post-shadow. So, you know, don't feel, like, frustrated if things are still being also, I'm hearing positioned. I'm hearing even in your mind where you're like, I feel like I'm not quite sure on how I want to really define this part of my job. I'm hearing this for a number of you. Interesting, like, it could be in however way you see it, like, you know, there is still possibly more to that story, and it may be kind of indirect. You know how, like, sometimes you're, like, so focused on finding a so-called solution, and then you kind of step back from it, and then there are things that sort of say what they need to say, and then in relation to that, what you want to say becomes so much more simple. So that's interesting. I don't know what that's alluding to, but maybe it's like something related as well to the collective, absolutely, ascension, and we are definitely in a major healing process here in terms of what is happening on a collective scale. So, you know, if you're like, what's happening in my life? You know, there is a lot happening in relation to your life as well, and, you know, we're all sort of integrated and you know, in some way, so take it as you will, but there is a very strong focus on clearing, and I highly recommend, if you feel guided, to clear or focus on what is in your environment that, you know, is possibly kind of, well, you know, you take it as you will, kind of reflect on that concept, and, you know, you feel free to share in the comments as well. You guys, thank you for tuning in, love and light to you, and hopefully we'll again be here with the Gemini December reading. Like, really, I mean, I have all the messages, it's just, I don't know, I feel like the time is not, for some reason, it's very weird, but whatever, well, you know, whatever it is, that could be, you know, definitely whatever it is. So, but we will get into it again when the stars so-called align and when it is so-called time. But in the meantime, you guys, thank you again for tuning into you. Thank you guys for connecting. And again, I know it's a very intense time, so just take it easy on yourself, especially around the full moon. It's a lot here that's coming up, okay? It's a lot that's coming up. Like, you know, be careful. I'm hearing as well with your I'm hearing your caller ID. I don't know what that's alluding to, but maybe, I don't know what that's alluding to. Oh, hello, Simatali. Thank you for your donation. Thank you for tuning in and your support. Aw, you guys. Yes, but, you know, so yeah, your caller ID. I don't know what there's something possibly of a matter of well, okay, how it is that well, there's a lot going on, possibly, it has to do with possibly how you are, it's very weird. Okay, well, ooh. So, let me read the comments real quick here. Yeah, so, yeah, I don't know, you guys, caller ID, I don't know what that, take it as you will, that might be a little message here for a number of you, but, you know, it might be a matter of how, you are also showcasing your talent. All right, love and light to you guys. Thank you again for tuning in. I'll see you soon.